In the summer of 1983, Ner Israel decided to send their seed program to Atlanta because Rabbi Ilan Feldman was there, and they had long communication and attachment between the Feldmans and the Ner Israel Yeshiva. We came down to Atlanta and were housed here in Atlanta, and we discovered a wonderful thing. We discovered a community of people that was yearning, starving for real Torah education. When we arrived in Atlanta, I had our first meeting with Rabbi Ilan Feldman. He was the assistant rabbi at Beth Jacob at the time, and he was in charge of the program. One of the questions I asked him was, what would you like to call this program? He said, I don't care what you call it, just get the word kollel in there. So one Saturday night near the end of the program, a few of us were sitting around just kicking back. It was Rabbi Ilan Feldman was there, I was there, and a young couple named Chuck and Leslie Lowenstein. Chuck and Leslie were real movers and shakers in the community. Chuck said to Rabbi Ilan Feldman, Rabbi, I don't understand. Why can't we do this all year long?
It wasn't easy, that's for sure, because people here had no idea what a kollel was.
We didn't know what a kollel was.
First of all, we didn't even know what the word kollel meant. It had to be explained to us what it was.
The strategy that we developed for fundraising for the kollel was we were going to enrich the community by creating an extra resource that would make Atlanta a destination for people who grew up here who are now leaving and never coming back.
Our goal was to raise a third of the annual costs of running the kollel the first year. So if the first year's budget was $180,000, so 60 of it was coming from seed money, which was coming from out of town, but then we wanted to raise 60 in a few days. So Rabbi Feldman lined up at maybe 15, maybe 18 people that we visited, one after another after another.
Since 1954, Southern Jews were absorbing the message of the centrality of Torah as the lifeline of the Jewish people, through the passion and commitment of Rabbi Emanuel Feldman of Congregation Beth Jacob. In the summer of 1987, they were called upon to support this new kollel endeavor. What was their reaction?
I saw Alan Shaw in the subsequent years. I felt bad because Alan Shaw was one of the first supporters, and I sold him, so to speak, the kollel on the idea that his son, you want a chance for your son to come back and live here in Atlanta? This is your ticket. And he bought it. And his son never moved back. One particular, the wonderful couple, Eleanor and Larry Bogart. Eleanor had been out, I think she had been out shopping. And is that right? Do you remember she joined us in the middle of the meeting?
She was in the middle.
Yeah, she came in the middle of the meeting and she sits down, and we caught her up on the discussion, and Larry, I think, mentioned a number, and she sat there, and there was a long pause, and I thought that she was going to raise skeptical questions about the value of this enterprise. And then she said,
But it wasn't enough.
And Elna insisted that we give more.
George Kaplan, may he rest in peace. George peppered us with skeptical questions, and this was going the wrong direction. And then he, as he stood up, he said, I'm in for $5,000. Steve agreed to meet with us on his way to the airport. We described to him what we wanted to do, and we said that we needed to raise $60,000 in order for this to be a viable thing. He said, $60,000 will be no problem. So I said, do you mean we just raised it? Or do you mean you think that other people are going to give it? And he said, you go out and try to find the money, but whatever you need to get to 60, I'll back it up.
My biggest challenge was the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. And frankly, I remember when I first came down here for my first interview, and they asked me, so tell me, what's your 5-year plan? And you know, I know what a deer in the headlights looks like. Then I knew what it felt like.
Because we discovered that whenever my wife gave us a bracha before we left the house for our next appointment, things went well. So we made sure that Miriam gave us a bracha. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
The kollel helped make Atlanta a destination city.
Absolutely.
For young Jewish professionals and Orthodox Jews. That was unusual.
Women gave classes to women, and these were women that we could see were strong women and educated women, and they also were about authentic Jewish lifestyle.
It was an investment, and it's probably one of the best investments I've ever made because the dividends that the community has reaped, and my family also.
It was one of the best investments you ever made. When Rabbi Feldman and Rabbi Deutsch came and told us, we sort of understood. We didn't think it would ever affect our lives, but we were more than happy to support Rabbi Feldman. And then, fast forward 30 years, guess whose son is a Kollel rabbi?
I practice emergency medicine and pediatrics at Children's Healthcare in the ER. I always try to make time to daven and shul and learn from the best of the Kollel rabbis.
I strengthened my connection to Judaism with Rabbi Geltach while a student at Georgia Tech.
I can honestly say that my son, Micah, who is in 5th grade at AJA, would not have the benefit of a Jewish education if it weren't for the learning that I began with the Atlanta Scholars Kollel over 20 years ago.
The Kollel has been an inspiration for me and my family in many ways. It caused us to join a conservative synagogue where our daughters became B'nai Mitzvah, and I have become a regular Shabbat morning attendee.
We met as singles at Sunday Night with Silverman, attended Kollel Lunch and Learns and Shabbat programming, had a big, fat Orthodox Jewish wedding where Rabbi Dave balanced a high chair containing a child on his chin. And the rest is Jewish history.
We are joyfully raising the first Torah-observant child in close to 50 years from both sides of our immediate families. Thank you, Kollel, for being a beacon of light to warm our neshamas.
The Kollel has reinforced my ability to have a meaningful relationship with Hashem and has shown me that my spirituality has helped me throughout many life challenges. Our lives wouldn't be the same without the Kollel. I'm fairly sure we wouldn't have married if the Kollel rabbis weren't steering our ships towards each other. We have much to be thankful for to all of you.
Ask's rabbis, Kollel educational opportunities, and subsidized trips to Israel have infused the spirituality of Judaism into our family.
I am a psychiatry resident with Emory.
And I do commercial real estate. We both took Maimonides with Rabbi Golding, went to Israel. Our shidduch was made by the Geltachs, and Rabbi Geltach officiated at our wedding.
We are grateful to the Atlanta Scholars Kollel for being a constant support, inspiration, and reminder of living lives of Jewish values and purpose.